We return to Ferrix to witness an evening ritual. It opens not with action, but with discipline and ceremony. One man climbs a tower, alone. No one watches. He wears gloves, ear protection. He picks up 2 dense and heavy-looking little hammers. Before striking, he pauses, arms outstretched. Then he strikes an epic pose like a statue, a gesture full of pride, almost reverence, and, grunting with the effort, begins to work. He's a symbolic figure, elevated, ritualistic and alone. The sound he makes is neither beautiful nor unpleasant. It's structural, solid, a 4-beat rhythm played on a slab of metal that looks like it's been forged for this exact purpose. Each side has its own tone and the pattern never deviates. Left, right, pause, both. What matters isn't the music, it's the signal. The town doesn't respond with urgency, but with coordination and tradition. This is Ferrix's heartbeat. The town responds to the bell, not commands. This is horizontal power, cultural, not enforced. The bell ringer isn't an authority, he's an anchoring tradition, and everyone hears it. Pegler shoos away some feral hounds and shuts up the yard. Brasso hangs his gloves on the communal wall, a small, working-class shrine, a gesture that marks the end of labour. Even Nurchi gets a quiet moment to sit in contemplation, probably, of what a loser he is. And while all this unfolds, the tone of the town is set. Ferrix doesn't have curfews, it has rhythms. The bell doesn't command, it informs. The work is over, the day is closing. The civic body exhales. Inside her workshop, Bix checks a terminal. It's not hidden, this isn't the secret transmitter, this is just her work screen. And what she's reading isn't secret either, far from it. It's going to be the big news of the evening on Ferrix. The Premor bulletin. Cyril's message has just gone public, but her behaviour is still cautious. She shuts it quickly when Timm enters. Timm, as ever, is trying to play it breezy, badly. He offers to take her out, and when she reminds him they agreed on once a week, he pivots, suggests they start the week early. It's jokey, but there's a note of pressure underneath, passive-aggressive softness. She plays along to a point, agreeing to tomorrow instead. She thanks him. He replies with a clipped, "Yep." To my shame, I recognise this tone coming from me on occasion. With me, it's not usually "yep." It's usually "I'm fine." But it's the same thing. It's the kind of yep that doesn't need translation, the kind you give when you're trying not to say something's really bothering you. His smile's thin, and the second she leaves, he's on her terminal like a toddler on an unlocked iPad. The message is still on screen. Premor is looking for a Canary male. The notice asks for information. He doesn't know Cassian is Canary, but he does know Big shut the screen down when he walked in. He actually wasn't looking, he was checking stock on the back wall at the time, but if you listen to the scene without watching, you can tell the sound of someone furtively shutting their browser. You just can, I don't know how, but check it out. So now of course Timm knows that Bix didn't want him to see this message, and he's putting things together. We cut to Cassian arriving home. He finds Maarva sitting quietly in an armchair. B2 Emo, who's just been told to shut up, stirs. The tone immediately shifts again. Ferrix is winding down, but Cassian's panic is escalating. He tries for warmth, calls Maarva comfortable, bends down for a hug. She doesn't really react. His attempts at breezy BS in this scene are pathetic. Even if Maarva didn't know something beforehand, she'd have known as soon as he started his routine. He even brought the Brasso lie in that he was so proud of at the time, but it's not working. He's like a little boy in this scene. He's adept at lying in his underworld dealings and personal relationships, but this isn't Cassian the super spy yet. And even if it were, this is his mother, and he seems to know he can't lie to her, so his nerves are making it even more transparent. So he spends the first part of the scene doing everything he can to avoid looking at her, makes a weak excuse for his battered face. Maarva doesn't push, she just replies, "Ooh, you've been busy." She's letting him lie, not because she believes him, but because she's given him rope. It's only when B2 is asked to read it to him that the trap closes. B2 reads out the Premor bulletin, and Maarva, quietly, without drama, asks who else knows. Not what happened. She zeroes in on the risk, that he was born on Canary. Cassian tries to change the subject, offers to explain, but she cuts him off. I love this moment. Maarva makes a little noise before responding that sounds like steam coming out of a kettle. "We'll get to that." She's trying not to wring his neck. She's furious. The kind of fury you only feel when someone you love has made themselves vulnerable. But for the moment her motivation is to contain exposure, not punish him. She reminds him that they've always said he was from Fest. Every document says Fest. Has he ever said otherwise? He fumbles. Officially, no. Unofficially, maybe. To some people, he hasn't been keeping track. As she pounces, everyone I told is dead. He tries to argue, names family, Jezzy, Samo, but she's not having it. Family doesn't count. She's not running a guilt inventory, she's running a leak audit. When she says it's all your women I'm worried about, it doesn't land like an insult, it's tactical. I don't think she's being a Puritan, she's concerned about the loose ends. She lists them, Femi, Carla, Sondri, some she doesn't even know. He begs her to stop. B2 stutters out, Bix. Cassian snaps back, Bix has got nothing to do with this. But the truth is, someone told Bremore, and that means the lie of Fest is collapsing. The cover story is blown. The list of suspects isn't that long. And then Maarva yells, well, who told these Bremore bastards about Kenari? And Cassian says, that would be me. And it's one of the only times we see him surrender. Not in defeat, not in shame, just in truth. No spin, no manipulation, just a single moment of accountability. Then we find out B2 wasn't tastelessly adding Bix to Cassian's list of dubious women. He was trying to say she was calling. From this moment, Maarva doesn't exist to Cassian. Where's Bix? When did she call? Maarva keeps pushing. What do they want? Why would you tell them that? What did you do? But Cassian doesn't even hear her. My assumption is, by told them, Cassian is talking about the conversation he had with the brothel madam. She would have been interviewed, of course. He technically told her his sister was Kenari, but that's the same thing. If he hadn't been looking for his sister and forced to mention their homeworld as the only information that might identify her, if this had been a different jaunt, they'd never have found him. Maarva is still asking questions when B2 goes quiet. Not from shutdown, I think he's in his charging cradle, but he's calculating something, rerouting comms, but the silence is unnerving. Cassian sighs like he's just lost his only remaining thread of control. What have you done? Maarva asks again. I messed up. And that's the heart of it. All the scrambling, all the deflections, all the fear, it just resolves into a single line. I messed up. Not strategic or noble, just honest. We cut to a bar. Bix is drinking alone when Cassian arrives. She's glad to see him, but guarded. It's telling that she doesn't say what happened to you and instead asks, what did you do? Indicating his record that we see hinted at constantly, that while he might not want trouble, he always seems to end up in one kind or another. He tells her what happened, says he'll sell her the part after all, just enough to get out. But she's already acted, the buyer is coming, and it's too late to call him off. Cassian reaches for her hand. It's not romantic, it's gratitude. Maybe apology. She lets him touch her for a moment, then gently pushes him away. You should go. And behind them, unknown to them, Timm is watching. Seems drunk. He's feeling not just jealous, but excluded. Cassian's presence has flipped something in him. Rewatching these scenes, I found myself wondering, as you may be, what a lady like Bix could possibly see in a boring, possessive and insecure man like Timm. We know very little about the history between Cassian and Bix, but we do know three things. Number one, Cassian is intensely protective of Bix. As we saw earlier in this scene, his mother doesn't even exist when Bix's name was mentioned. Number two, Bix is very guarded and defensive around Cassian, despite clearly having a lot of love for him, which is an odd combination. And three, Timm is jealous of Cassian's mere presence, which suggests romantic history between the two. Bix and Cassian, I mean, not Cassian and Timm, that would be a wild interpretation. So here's my theory. Bix and Timm aren't together because they're a good fit. They're together because he's the anti-Cassian. Cassian is chaos. He's roguish, unreliable, charming, full of secrets, and constantly about to disappear. We don't know their history, but we do know how much energy it takes to manage him. He drops in, brings trouble, and asks for favors. That kind of person becomes gravitational, even if you're not romantically involved or invested, and eventually exhausted. So Timm's the safe choice. He's always there. He doesn't disappear on jaunts, doesn't get in fights, doesn't have a hidden past. He might not thrill her, but he's not going to pull her into something that could get her arrested. On paper, he's the stabilizer. Unlike most of Ferrix, I don't think he has any involvement in the black market economy. He's dull, predictable, until he's pushed. He's nice, but she doesn't know yet he's the bad type of nice guy. So she views him as a reset, a partner who works with her, not around her, someone she doesn't have to worry about. He's safe, and that's the mistake. Because the things that make Timm safe, emotional neediness, moral inflexibility, possessiveness, are only stable until they're threatened. Then they flip. The minute he feels sidelined, he lashes out the only way he knows how. Because unlike Cassian, whose danger is honest and visible, Timm's danger is internal. It's all ego and control. He downs his drink, smashes the cup down, leaves the bar, drinks again from a hip flask as he traverses the streets, heads straight to a Star Wars phone booth and makes the call. He doesn't do it out of righteousness, he does it because he wants to matter. He's spiraling and wants to be in control. Anonymous snitching is the only tool he can grasp to feel powerful, because in a town full of rhythm and restraint, he's the one who breaks the beat. And just like that, the ritual ends, not with a bell, but with a betrayal.